Another habit of mine is learning to manage your impulsivity. Now, children at this early age have a tendency to be impulsive. And one of the long-range goals that you have for them is to learn to be conscious of their impulses, their feelings, and their behaviors, and to learn how to manage those. This picture of these police dogs, I give an example of what it means to manage their impulsivity. Now, police dogs are certainly tempted to chase that little kitty. And so these dogs are having to manage themselves. They've been trained to restrain themselves. And we need children to be able to be restraining of themselves as well. So teaching kids to manage their impulse is very important. We don't yell out in the classroom. We don't speak without raising our hands, for example. One of the things that we can do is to help students become STAR students. Now, STAR stands for stop, think, act, and reflect. So you can say, are you being a STAR student? Are you managing your impulsivity? Are you thinking before you are acting? So we want students then to learn how to manage, to think about, to take charge of their own behaviors, and to restrain themselves when it's important. Now, that doesn't mean that on the playground and some other opportunities for them to be exuberant and to yell and to laugh. But in the classroom, when we're working with other people, we need to learn how to manage ourselves. Management of impulsivity and persisting are two of the most important long-range behaviors that students can learn. They will be using these behaviors throughout the rest of their life, and they are very highly correlated with achievement. Here is one student, Gage, in the first grade, who knows how to manage his impulsivity. You don't call out in an assembly if you lose your tooth. You wait until assembly is over. Now, this is an example of how very young children can learn the vocabulary of the habits of mind, as well as the behaviors and strategies of the habits of mind and the occasions in which you use it. This was just the beginning, but students will continue to learn these strategies throughout the rest of their lives.
So the habits of mind are learned through interacting with others and in observing others, just as we do when we learn language in the first place. For example, when we see someone who is actually using the language of, I'm not sure I understood you. Could you please repeat that again for me? Or if you heard somebody who was saying, oh, I was really thinking about that, but I wanted to wait a minute to be sure that I was right about it before I got started. So I stopped to think about it first. So you hear, and teachers often will do this, modeling it, modeling the vocabulary that you want to use, modeling the ways that you show value of it, modeling the cognitive process that you're using. Now, when I first start to read a new book, here are some of the things that I say to myself. I say, let me look at the cover first, and then let me see what the cover tells me the book might be about. Now, notice what I'm doing is I'm being metacognitive. I'm thinking about my thinking, and I'm modeling that for the students. In social skills and emotional skills, I might say, you know, the other day I was out and I saw something happen and it really made me feel very sad. Or I feel like I'm very frustrated because, well, frankly, I'm very frustrated with COVID-19 because I can't go out and do the things I would love to do. So you know that there are things that we can talk about, our emotions, our social life, our capacity to be with one another. All of these are habits of mind that are learned through the interaction with others, the peer group, adult group, people with whom you are observing all the time. You want to add to
So
that?
we have to remember that the most powerful way for young children to learn is through the imitation of their parents, their teachers, and their adults around them. As Robert Fulghum said, don't worry that children never listen to you. Worry that they're always watching you. And we find that one of the most powerful ways for children to learn is through imitation.
So we wanted to bring to your attention some of our resources. ASCD has been so generous with us in publishing so many of our Habits of Mind books. We are so delighted to be partners with them and be in the ASCD family. And so we started a long time ago, and then we currently updated many of our books. So a book that we published, Art, do you remember when Learning and Leading was published? What year?
2008.
Okay, 2008. So we're going back in history. And then we did Habits of Mind across the curriculum, which we did with the co-editing with a group of teachers all around the world. And that was, what year was that?
Also 2008.
2008. So we did both of these together. And then we started realizing, nothing has really been written in our early childhood. So again, we went to Jenny Ostertag from ASCD, and we said, we'd like to do a book, Nurturing the Habits of Mind in Early Childhood. And that is a very recent book that we did in 2018, 19? What is it? 19. And that's where we, again, tapped into all the generous people around the world who are using the Habits of Mind in their classroom, and lots of just chock full of wonderful practices and ideas. And then finally, Jenny asked us if we would do one of these quick reference guides. And so we have a quick reference guide as well with Cultivating Habits of Mind. So we are so pleased that we have been able to have this wonderful partnership. And we hope that you will join us in seeing the literature that we do, and also being a partner in the family of people who are all around the world using Habits of Mind. Thank you for being with us.
Thank you.